Week 15 of the 2017 Bad Quarterback League will definitely be one of those weeks where some of you will say it made or ruined the whole season. With so much to talk about, let's open up the old
He's made a mess of it.
Alright class, today we're going to talk about what the definition of a mess is, because this week we have what's called a textbook example. So you have these 4 teams that you drafted. One of them is the number 1 team in the BQBL right now. Let's say you're in first place by only 38 points with 3 weeks to go. Now the first rule of he's made a mess of it is that you should definitely not start the number 1 team. Got it. Leave Cleveland on the bench. But you also have the number 3 team in the BQBL, and that video guy keeps telling you to start them. Okay, so start Buffalo. Now your last pick is between Pittsburgh against a good opponent or Cincinnati against a good opponent. Kind of a toss-up, right? Go with Pittsburgh. Folks, what we have here is a recipe for a mess. You're lucky Tyler Palko only got 9 points closer to you after this blunder of a week. With Pittsburgh starts out of the way, I hope you can make better decisions the next 2 weeks. After lunch, your next class is Moneyballin' It Economics. Let's say you have these 4 teams. Wow, 2 of them are the same teams from He's Made a Mess of It. You implement a stock market strategy of buy low and sell high. Houston hasn't put up diddly poo for BQBL points the past 2 weeks, so they sound like they're a cheap pick, a good investment, and could have a good week on the market. On the other hand, Buffalo has given you nice dividends recently, and now might be a bit oversold. Good time to sell and leave them on the bench. You notice Cincinnati is trending upwards, and you might want to ride the wave. The Titans are played against a poor opponent anyways, so definitely leave them on the bench. No one's buying the team playing against the 49ers.
You know, Lloyd, just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself!
The result, TS8 win looks like a mastermind going into week 16 inside the promotion zone. Moneyballin' it at its finest. Sadly, I missed out on Cleo Lemon's huge windfall last week where he scored 97 points. He followed that up with a meager 14 this week, but it's still a step in the right direction as he's now only 62 points back with 2 weeks to go. Now on to our week 15 standings where the order hasn't changed in 5 weeks now, so I'm sure you're used to your rankings. Wade Wilson is still in first, but only 29 in front of Tyler Palko, who picked his 2 best teams but didn't have much to show for it. Dallas is getting better for him at the worst time. In third with the best score of the week is Kellen Moore thanks to avoiding the Giants, although it might be too little too late to make up a 121-point gap for the top spot with 2 weeks to go. Our content 4th place resident is Johnny F. E. Moxon, who continues to churn out C- weeks. And speaking of minus, Chad Hutchinson looks completely lost with his league-leading 4th negative week of the season, especially surprising because last year he was the only person without a single one. He is beginning to get some chatter on the relegation picture as he only has a 72-point lead over Johnny Football. Clinging to 6th place is Cade McNown, who made his move to safety a month ago but can't shake Johnny Football, who is so close you can taste his exhaust fumes, thanks to a well-overdue week by the Rams. Cleo Lemon missed out on all the good New England weeks and now has to start them the rest of the season. Lucky for him, the Jets seem to be producing again, but will it be enough?
Now for the main event. Yes, I said it. The 4-horse race in the Turbush League gets more interesting every week. I've already spoke about TS8 Win's great decision making, but does Tyler Palko Jr., Craig Krenzel, have enough fight left in his teams to ward off an equally desperate Ryan Leaf? At least Leaf knows a good Cleveland start when he sees it. He just needs to stay away from Cam Newton and pick a prosperous Patriot parlay. Looking in from the outside is Colt Quinn Whedon, who I don't think his teams are as strong as the top 3 now that Dallas and the Jags have playoff dreams. Jeff George has risen to a distant 5th place, but that's not hard to do when Jamarcus Russell has been driving backwards since Thanksgiving. The bottom 3 of you remind me of the scene from The Little Giants.
Hey guys, look! 2nd and 9. The game begins!